Yay! Share. Watch party. On live, bitch. Wes, how was your morning?
Oh my god. Well, Chris is on his first travel here
Since COVID?
since December.
Oh my gosh, where's he going?
St. Louis.
Oh my god, so far away. So different.
Yeah, he's excited to be traveling.
Wait,
for.
when does he come back?
Tomorrow.
Oh,
It's just,
it's just like an overnight trip.
yeah, it's
like a
like
day trip.
they're going out to tour, right?
So speaking of Rachel, you're going to be at Gabino and Tom's house this weekend for their fall festival, or their
Information.
Oh my god, about
Yeah.
sex health?
Like healthy sex, bring out some condoms, stuff like that, and just have that stuff available for anyone who's there, and then answer questions and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Do you know what you're going to wear?
No.
Are you going to come? Are you familiar? Are you coming this weekend to Gabino and Tom's off to the farm for their fall festival to raise money for charity for all their horses?
No, I was unaware of it. I actually will be here this weekend at Hamburger Mary's performing, so.
Jeff! That's exciting. What days will you be here?
I'm actually here every night, but I'll be performing Saturday night. So there's a 7 and 9 o'clock show. Super excited. Come tomorrow.
What's the name of your show?
It's the Dining with the Divas here at Hamburger Mary's. So we have a fabulous cast. There'll be Daphne Demure, Mrs. Jones, myself, Evie, Carmela Uchawi. We're super excited. So we're gonna be a safe, COVID, cleaning, all of it's gonna be great. Come in.
Well, obviously, since we're talking about this, I'm Ace from Woody's, Kansas City. This is Wes
Hola.
from Unboxed.
Casey Care.
And this is our special guest today, Beans.
From everywhere, I guess.
Everybody loves beans.
Yeah, so, as we continue on with this month of National Hispanic Awareness, we are working to elevate narratives from individuals in our community who are Hispanic or identify with Latinx. And so it's really important that if you have any questions, comments, please share those experiences with what we're talking about today. It's really important that we elevate your message as well in your story. So please feel free to share and to share this page and this video and what we do. Thank you.
We do a live show every single Wednesday around noonish, so you can chime in with actual questions, but you can also watch us because it'll be up forever, and we still check all of our messages, so feel free to ask questions at any time.
Yeah.
Do we want to get started with the game?
Yeah. Do you want to do the healthy sexual game or the race game or the race cards?
I'm gonna let Beans decide on what we
Ooh,
want to do.
let's go in that order. We'll do the sex and then the race.
Yeah.
Oh, the sex race.
If you want to,
Yeah, I'll roll on this one. Sexual health.
Peter, we pick a number between 1 and 5. 4. What are some of the ways you stay healthy, sexually, physically, and emotionally?
Sexually, physically. Let's go sexually. How do you stay healthy sexually?
Yeah.
I would just say always check. Oh, I would say something
Wait.
that can I don't know. That's in the core of all 3 of those. It's just being physical. I love to run. I run almost every day, and immediately I'm not on any medication or pills, so I don't want to take a Xanax. I don't want to take an Adderall. But for me, in my head, sometimes I'm I could use one. But when I go on a run, mentally, I'm just more relaxed. Physically, I'm more stress-free. I feel like I took a Xanax. So any issue that I have is just more calming. And then I think that would help you sexually, mentally, and what was the other one? Emotionally too. Just to really calm and think clear. I think that's been an issue for me to second stuff. So now after I come home from a run, I'll just be so relaxed. I can think of everything more clear, and then everything else sort of just falls into place, I think.
Yeah, great answer. Ace, what about you?
100% masturbation. Jerk off all the time. If I'm super tired and I can't fall asleep, jerk off. If something's bothering me and I feel like my life's out of control, jerk off. I can control that. No, I think that's the same thing, Peter. I think that everybody has their things. Anything that releases endorphins or takes your mind off something. Obviously, I think that doing something productive like running or reading, learning something, or I do a lot of volunteering. I think that definitely helps with a lot of like my emotional like stress, and it takes me out of my space and knowing that it's like helping someone else as well. So it's like a kill two birds with one stone. What about you, Wes?
Woo. Okay. Sexually, I think it's really important that you do masturbate and that you are comfortable playing with yourself, because you should be. It's totally fine. It's normal. It's a perfect way to practice some self-care and sort of like pay attention to your body and what's important. So I totally agree with masturbation as a stress release and a way to sort of like,
It's healthy
end your
for you,
day or
right?
start your day. Or
Well, and it's
middle of
because
the
you
day.
could do like an overall body check, like when you're naked, like, do my balls feel right?
Yeah.
What does my bubble look like? Or take a photo. I mean, it's like an upload. I mean, to make sure that I don't have any.
I just want to
Dad,
share.
hit the camera.
As far as like I agree physically with like running. For me, exercise is really big. So even if it's 20 minutes, taking that time to walk around your neighborhood, go to the park and sit around, walk around the park, something like that. Get out of where you're at so that you can sort of like readjust, recenter yourself, get connected with yourself again. That's I'm big on mindfulness, and that's really important. And running is a great way to do that, because you're focused on running and you have to be present in the act of that or you fall. So that's a really good way to like center yourself and sort of like work through some things that are going on. And exercise can become addictive because of the endorphin rush you get. And I gotta tell you, this morning I was not feeling 100% on working out, and I was like 20 minutes in, and the trainer, was like, "Come on, we're like halfway through," and I was like, "We're like halfway." And I was like, "I got this." I was like, "You know what? I am feeling better," and I'm like engaged and yelling back at the TV, even though the person isn't really there. I'm like, "You're pushing me too hard."
Slow down.
Yeah. So it does, I was like, I feel way better now.
Totally good. Right?
No, because it's high intensity. You got to keep that
Oh,
movement
you
up.
need those endorphins to keep releasing.
Yeah, you got to
that
keep
makes sense.
catching that rush or chasing the rush.
I feel that way every time I pull up to a buffet. I'm like, yes, I can eat everything here.
It's a challenge.
Such a challenge.
So we're gonna go emotionally. I think sharing, being open with people, open with yourself about things that you need to work on, addressing your goals where you're falling, short of things. So that's really important. Like last week we talked about goals and goal development and accomplishing those, and working out is part of that. So if that's your goal, it's a set. So that helps you emotionally when you accomplish your goals. It's being successful, rewarding, and you feel better about yourself as well. So our next is our race deck. So these are covered under history. So like know your history, know yourself, and a reflection point. So what can you learn or what action can you do? What can you learn from this moment? So you can pick a number between 1, 2, or 3.
God, we'll do 2.
You're running low on these 2s. That's a popular one. If you'll pick up part, please.
Ooh, not that one.
Do I read it?
Yeah.
Social determinants of health. This includes environmental exposure, immigration status, employment, education, income, food access, social services, public safety, housing, and more.
Wait, what's the original question? What's the top part?
Oh, know yourself?
Yeah, know yourself. So social determinants of health. So you listen to what they include, which they sort of orbit around you. It's like everything around us impacts our health. So for you, when you think about social determinants of health, and you take into environmental, immigration, employment, education, income, food access, all those things, and we're talking about National Hispanic Awareness Month. So immigration stands out to me in that one as being a cornerstone of a social determinant of health. So how would, in your community, would you say that immigration issue or the concern over immigration is impacting an individual's health?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's their income. So if you don't have like a proper income, well, you could be the best absolute worker out there, but it's just because of a simple work visa or social that they're not hiring. And then now with the pandemic, like everyone's working from home and like the jobs are a little more scarce. So absolutely it's affecting it.
And I would think if you're an immigrant or an undocumented immigrant in the U.S. and you do contract COVID, the fear is like, can you go to the hospital? Will you be deported? Will you be treated? How do you access those services? I mean, there's a lot of fear that comes into that because of your undocumented status and the way the current political situation is.
That you don't just get deported, that you get thrown into a cage and then you like casually disappear
Yeah.
and no one knows
Or
where
they
you are.
operate on you without your permission. I mean, these things are happening.
Yeah, I think you find a lot of families staying home and sort of just like self-remedying it, if that's the right way to say it, self-remedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember when I was in California, I had gotten sick, and I won't lie, my friend, his mom from Mexico sent us over, not sent us over, but she told us exactly how to make these teas, and let me tell you, it flushed that Rona out. Like, it was just,
Diarrhea.
I mean, so like, if they're more afraid of catching that, I think they'll be fine, because like, we know how to like, especially a Mexican mother knows how to take care of their child. So if they're sick, they have every remedy to make sure that they're fine. But still, like in this day and age, like now with everything going on and like the jobs, like it's scarce, it sucks. Like of course, everyone would love to go to the hospital just to make sure they're sick or taken care of. But now, like you don't have insurance, let alone a job, and then insurance on top of that. It's just going to be bill, bill, bill. So then that leads into like financially on top of health. So it's just more like a domino effect, I feel.
Yeah. And you may be the head of household.
Yeah.
You know, so you're the breadwinner and you contract COVID, or you have some other, you know, chronic disease or infection that takes place and you need to access medical care. And we saw this, you know, in 2016 when Trump was elected that, you know, Hispanic individuals in the KC metro area stopped accessing medical services, stopped engaging in programming that was available to them because of the fear that undocumented status, that they were going to be placed in a system, they were going to be outed in a sense, and then, you know, taken away and their family is left with, you know, nobody to help them, nobody to provide for them. And it's really important that, you know, work is done to bring those people into the light and bring them into society and help them to be, you know, legal contributing members of society as well.
And it's hard to not think that would happen because it's like being shown on TV that it's happening. Kids in cages taken away from families. So yeah, it's very scary. It's like it scares you right in the public.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah, you have to sit with that for a moment. It's just like there's no easy transition from that because
no one's making it up in their head. This is actually happening.
It's a very demoralizing and weakening moment where what do you do?
Well, what I do love about being Mexican and Mexican American is that growing up, you know, Mexicans are very resourceful and they're very adaptable. But I think that along the lines of some of this as well, you have to look deeper into even the POC communities and you talk about like health and stuff like that. And a lot of Black communities, there's not a fear of deportation and there's not a fear of being thrown in a cage, but there's a huge fear of doctors themselves because growing up, you know, in that culture over, you know, 100 years that, you know, Black people were disproportionate and poor, like they've always been, but also like going to doctors and stuff, they did the same things. They would try experimental drugs on them, experimental treatments because they didn't see them as equal humans, you know, and so there's a huge fear even in the Black community to even see a doctor, let alone, you know, go to like a whole entire clinic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I don't know where you go for that. Like, how do you?
Just getting over the stigma. And I think about, you know, normalizing some things. I think talking about it, I think, you know, it's a little bit of like the younger generation to still hold on to some of like what I think, because, you know, when my grandparents were alive, and even my aunts and uncles, you know, that are still alive, that are older, they still do a lot of like the home remedies, a little bit of like the more spiritual, like, you know, bruja kind of like stuff, whatever. And it works. Some of it's like now that I've been to school and educated like that, like, you can do both. But I think like normalizing that conversation, like, you know, like it's okay to like go to a physician, like it's 2020 and like as much as you still may have fear from going, you know, like in, you know, 1960, it's still, it's different. But that's just kind of like teaching, educating, helping, walking alongside, things like that.
Also, another thing on top of that I feel is that like, especially my family, we're so close, so close. Anyone is hurt in the hospital, trust that waiting room is packed. You see a wedding, a funeral, unfortunately, it is packed. Like we just have such a huge family. So now when you are sick and you do go to the hospital, you're not allowed any visitors. It's strictly just them. So that's another case. They like, no, we don't want to separate because then especially if they're elderly, and you know that they're gonna not like be an issue, but they're gonna know that something's wrong if none of us are around. And it's scary. Like, I mean, I would be terrified to be in a hospital, not to have my parents there, really sick, not even just like your parents, just someone like you love to be there. And that is taking like sort of like, not, I would guess say tradition and like heritage away almost because of that, of the corona, no one being able to be there. So then that also, well, do we want to take them to the hospital? Do we not want to take them to the hospital? Can we fix them here? Can we just see? Like, I think that also falls into play.
A lot of fear.
A lot of it, yeah. And, you know, we talked on earlier about ability to pay, you know, and that comes, you know, that's part of legitimizing a person's work and the effort and time that they put in. And it's, you know, touching on ASA education, like, you know, it's not, we know this, but how do you spread it to everybody else? I think it's telling family members, telling friends, you know, and having those hard conversations about how your community is affected, how your family is impacted by regulations and laws that are in place. I think that's important to share that. Last night I did a panel with Rich Finnerman, who is running for Attorney General for the state of Missouri. And I asked him 2 questions. And my first question was over HIV criminalization laws in Missouri and how they impact persons of color, and how specifically Black individuals, male and female combined, are 11% of the population in Missouri, but there's 60% of HIV criminalization laws. Like, they are impacted most by those laws in our state. And letting him know that and talking about what he would do and what he could do as an attorney general to impact that, you know, he wasn't aware of that information, like how disproportionate it is in our state towards persons of color, and how archaic the law is. I mean, it's reactionary. It was put in place based on the marginalization, the ostracization, the vilification of gay males, regardless of race, for HIV. And this law severely punishes you with a minimum of 5 years for spitting on the ground next to somebody who, you know, if you're HIV positive and you spit on the ground next to somebody who is HIV negative, that negative person can take you to court, sue you for threatening to infect them with HIV. You have no defense, according to the law. You did it. You tried to infect them. You are now going to spend a minimum of 5 years in prison with a felony conviction, so you'll never be able to vote again. And you're going to be on the sex offender registry. It's just mind-blowing, you know, how archaic the laws are, the impact that they can have on a person and a community. And as I stressed to him, it's important that with that law, it serves only to encourage people not to get tested. Because if you are HIV positive and you test positive, you now have a mark. And you're going to be subjected to harsher penalties, to more lengthier criminal prosecution. So it's really important that the law gets updated and changed. And I liked his response. You know, he said he's an advocate. He'll testify to the legislature over how important it is that the law be changed and be updated to reflect current medical science. He was very well versed on HIV, how it's transmitted, biomedical interventions. I was really, really impressed, and definitely, you know, recommend everybody go check out his website, look into his policies and how he would handle, you know, attorney general cases for the state of Missouri and the direction he would take. I was really impressed with all that.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you were able to speak on the panel. I have a question for you, Peter. So you've grown up in Kansas City. Your family's here. Like you said, you have a large family. I'm like, we're both Mexican. I had a totally different experience. I didn't have a large family. I grew up with my dad. I had extended cousins, but was never really close to them. They lived in different states. But growing up in Kansas City, what, like, in, you know, kind of trailing off of what was saying, like, what was your kind of experience with, I mean, obviously you're queer, coming out. What was that like in Hispanic culture? What was that like in extended family? What was that like to even talk about, you know, sexual health or loss or HIV and things like that? Was that a conversation that you were able to have with your family?
My mom and I tell her everything. And I think this is the one time that, like, growing up, there was 5 of us boys. All my aunts had, there was 5 boys born in 1 year, and us boys are so close. Like they're all my cousins, but we consider ourselves brothers. And a majority of them are military. You know, they're just your all around, you know, straight active boys. But I think they always knew I was different. Obviously, they were playing football, basketball. I was dancing. I was jump roping with all the girl cousins. I was definitely that cousin. We played Power Rangers. I was automatically the Pink Rangers. Like they knew. And they still love and support me to this day, even though like we all kind of not went our separate ways, but we all went through our career, what we want to do. And seeing them become amazing fathers and amazing husbands, and still we can all keep that close. I would say when I went to school, I went to like an all-Mexican school until 6th grade. And then from 6th to 8th grade, I went to St. Peter's in Brookside. And for once, that was different. Like, I mean, I was surrounded by Mexicans, so I never really like thought of myself as like different. And then when I went to like basically an all-white school, it was me and one other gentleman, his name was Josh, he was Black, and I was Mexican. We were the only people of color in our grade. And we literally, it was so crazy because Josh was not one to like be cool with like the gay guy, but just because we were the only people of color, we kind of clicked and we became great friends. Like, and it was just that, like, I saw the difference. And then also, I kind of like became friends with all of them and got my own group. So then it kind of led into like the, you're too white for the Mexicans and then too Mexican for the white people. Because it's still like, they saw me as like someone different. And then when I went to high school, it was just awesome because that was a whole mixture. I had my grade school friends there and my Brookside friends there. So like, it was awesome because then I got to like,
did you have your boyfriend?
So then obviously throughout all that, I was in every musical. I was always singing. I was always dancing.
Always the Pink Ranger.
My parents, like, I was just always afraid. And then like, I remember even my mom told me, like, she asked me just straight up front, "Are you gay?" And I was just like, no. And I was just like, it's just like, okay. So then I just, you know, as I got older, I was like, forget it. I came out. And then my dad and I never really had to talk about it.
About being gay or like
about being gay.
Did you ever have like a sex talk with your parents?
My dad, I remember one time he asked me, he was just like, so do we need to do the birds and bees? And I was like,
it's more like the bees and the bees.
Yeah, the bees and the bees, yeah. I was like, I'm good on it. He's like, hey, I'm here if you have any questions. Like, my dad's awesome. But then I was just always afraid, like, I didn't know what he'd say. And then I remember I had gotten into my first relationship and I moved out, I was gone. And I think that was the first time, like, 'cause I remember one time our car broke down and my dad came and fixed it. He took my boyfriend at the time.
He said our car, you and your boyfriend.
It was his car. It was his car, but
we already got it.
Yeah, it was my car. That's like mine. No, but I remember my dad took him to the store to get the car fixed. And I was like, oh my God. Like, it was weird because I was left there and I was really like, oh my God, my dad. And then afterwards he talked to me. He's like, you know, I miss you. Like, I don't care what you do. Like, and then I started working here, and I think he started seeing, because within a year I became manager, and I was
here
at Hamburger Mary's.
Yay!
And I loved it. Like, we have the best bosses, and they trusted me, and I've been here since, and then until I moved. But then I think they started seeing and becoming more proud, and that I was actually doing something. I wasn't just like.
So, in your household, how many siblings do you have?
There's 7 of
like
us
that grew up like in your kind of demographic, like in like your age group, like at your house.
Oh, at my house?
Like while you were there. Some people have siblings that are older that like they were gone when they like were kind of growing up.
I guess I would say there was like always 3 of us there at a time.
And so like during like those formative years and growing up, were you, I mean maybe not you, but like were your parents, did they talk about any kind of sexual health? Did they like give you condoms? Did you have an abstinence talk? Like were they like, hey, if like something happens, let's like go to our doctor and we can ask questions, or was that just kind of like
with my older brother and sisters? I'm sure that happened. With my younger brother, my mom knew we were not getting any action. I was super chunky. I was so gay. I was so all that. I was it. Like she knew. She was like, he's fine. He's fine.
Just give him the pink Power Ranger costume back. He's good.
Yeah, she's like, that was my condo. That was the condo. The pink Power Ranger. Yeah, that was it.
Put this on, go outside. You're good.
I was crying about a musical. So she was like, I was not crying about Sarah. So they knew.
That's
You wanted to cry about mine?
Right.
Scott, yeah.
I remember a couple years ago, I did have a scare because I was just sort of having like a little wild moment.
so you weren't pregnant. You're not pregnant.
No, not pregnant now. But I did talk to my mom, and it was crazy because I had to tell her exactly what I was feeling. And, you know, she was like, all right. She started crying. She did her rosary. Like, my mom was just like there for me and didn't look at me crazy or didn't look upset with me. She knew that I was scared and I had to go do something, and she was right there with me. So I guess that was sort of like the closest talk I had about like sex with her.
But she was very like open, and you were candid, and like it was a good conversation.
I told her exactly why I was scared, what happened, and she was like, okay.
Is that,
That's incredible.
if you don't mind me like crying, was it along the vein of like an exposure to an STI, which is a sexually transmitted infection?
It was just unprotected.
Just unprotected sex. Yeah, so that's totally an exposure.
And it
The
could have
fear
been.
that like some
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
that.
And it scares you. You never know. Like, but like nowadays, I know like you can live with and be fine.
So having that scare that you talked to with your mother, was that a scare that you had because you had learned from friends, from like a class in school? Like, have your parents talked to you about like the dangers of unprotected sex, or like the?
Well, working here with all of the AIDS Walk Kansas City and all like the charities we do, like in the health clinic down the street, it was just like I knew better. I absolutely had the education, I had the knowledge. I acted out and I went against what I should have done. And but you know, it's one of those.
People make mistakes.
Yeah,
Everybody makes
and,
mistakes.
and then you
Humans
needed
make mistakes.
to do that to like prepare yourself. Okay, you know, in the future I do have to take care of myself more. And I went, I got tested, I'm good, but like it was just one of those like, okay, you gotta, and then just stay getting tested. All like it just feels good to even rather know, because if you are positive, then get the help, get the medicine, take care of yourself. And then I
Get those words burned off your asshole.
But I had
Start
to.
over.
That's real. That's real.
I literally had to like tell myself, okay, if this happens, then it was a rainy day too. And I was like, oh my
Oh,
God,
it just adds to it.
I'm gonna come out and cry in that corner. And I was just, yeah, I was just, but
These kids are so dramatic.
just a little dramatic. I wanted
Oh man, why are you crying?
Because I think I have gonorrhea again. I mean, and you can get gonorrhea in your throat, just to let everybody know.
Yeah, any mucous membrane.
I mean,
Right there.
oh wow. So that's awesome. So like you're so close to your family, you still feel like you have the support in it, and that transition from becoming a young, chunky queer wearing major costumes to the beautiful human that you are now and working through Hamburger Mary's. Do you still have open conversations with your friends, family members, and your mother about like, hey, like I've been to this clinic and they don't just do STI testing or stuff like that. Like if you need like some kind of medical help, this is also a facility you can go to. Don't be scared to, you know, do you talk to them even about their health, like making sure that they get checkups for prostate, for diabetes, for heart conditions, for breast cancer?
Especially as your parents move into.
I mean, that's a conversation
like,
too, like, cause I grew up like that. And like my dad, you know, worked for the government, had a really good, like, great job, had great insurance, but like, it was a struggle for me, even in the past couple of years before my dad passed away, to get him to go to the doctor. I'm like, you are literally gonna pay nothing, and I'll go with you and it's fine, but just like that whole mindset. But you know, like, I'm like, I know it's kind of like embarrassing, but like everyone goes through it. Like you have to take your clothes off, you have to do this, like it'll be fine, you know. And afterwards, my dad's like, see, I told you nothing was wrong. And I was like, well, don't you feel a little relief? Because I feel relief that nothing's wrong. And he's like, it's so embarrassing. And I'm like, oh, I do that like 4 times a year. Trust me. I have like lady doctors like all up inside my asshole, and that's one of the most humbling experiences I've ever had. And it also makes me think twice every time I go into a situation, like, make sure we got condoms, make sure that we're doing this properly, make sure that we're being safe. We have to have a conversation, because I'm not trying to have that embarrassing conversation with my doctor.
And we've talked a lot about knowing your status, you know, so, you know, that's typically, and I would say 98% of the time, attached to HIV. But knowing your status comes into play with like gonorrhea, chlamydia,
oh yeah,
herpes, like, you know, the syphilis,
And that's
the
another-
string of STIs. So don't just get an HIV test, get the full panel. Make sure that you know your full status, not just your HIV status.
Like your COVID status.
Your COVID, like get a test for everything.
Because if anything, that would weigh in the back of my head too. Even though you just got tested for the HIV, that's like literally all they would do. And I'm like, no, get everything. Just see the full sheet of it, just being clear. And it's just.
So do you have open dialogue with your family and your parents?
With my parents now, like they're really responsible. They make sure they get their checkups and everything. So it's not like they're more on me, like having to make sure.
Yeah.
Like,
You know you have support both ways.
yes,
Yeah.
absolute support is like the best word I would say for it.
So you had talked about when you were younger, you know, like your parents weren't worried about you engaging in sex. You didn't physically feel like you would attract somebody. So touching on the fetishization of Hispanic, Latinx individuals now as an adult,
Chubby pink Power Rangers.
yeah, you may not identify as a chubby pink Power Ranger now. So have you experienced that, you know, since you come out and you've been open and out in the community? Like that?
Fetishization?
Yeah.
Fetishization?
I know, being fetishized. There we go.
Fetishized.
Like in drag, like a lot of the.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think about that.
I didn't either.
Well, when I moved in California, I was hit on a lot in drag more than I was as a boy, and then it's different here. Like, but and I think because like the sex workers in
Why do you
California,
think
they were
that
probably.
is?
It was scary. I think California, like the sex trafficking and all that was like really high. Like we would walk down the street in drag and people were like pulling over, like, hey, it's me, I'm your Uber, sorry. And we're like, we didn't order an Uber. Yeah, you did, come on.
Okay.
Wow.
Like, and it was crazy, and it's just stuff like that. And then like here, I guess, okay, as a boy, you say like a simple papi, oh, they go crazy. Like my Spanish is not fluent, but I know a lot of guys would love just to hear papi. White, black, Mexican, whatever it is, it's just you're younger. And I guess like that fetishization of it does come. I have dark features, my eyes, my brows are thick as hell, and my hair. And so, but like in drag, I cover them, but like a lot of queens shave them off. But as a boy, I really love my brows. I think as thick as they are, I've grown to love them. And so, but like that will catch an eye. And like I would hear that a lot, your features. And then personality is different, but features they fall for. And then it's like, okay, like you can tell there is sort of a fetishization there, and you want to catch the signs first, because then that's the relationship. And then you're like, okay, once you want to talk, there's nothing to talk about.
I was gonna ask, like, what is the line for you? Like, where does an individual cross that line?
When they ask me to do the dishes. I'm joking.
Why?
No.
Like you don't know how to open the
You don't even live there. Not even my
Housekeeping? No.
These are from 2 weeks ago.
I'm sure everyone has like their different line. I'm so sarcastic and quick-witted, so I feel like when I joke with people, that gives them the idea that they can joke at my level, which I feel like I just so quick-witted, and then when I think about it, I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta slow it down because it's like rapid fire, quick wit. But even just like trying to make someone laugh, and then when they try to return like the joke, and then it's like, oh, okay, whatever. I've never necessarily had anyone like cross the line with me as like a fetish, or have me like ask to do something or anything like that. But I've had a lot of friends.
Like I only want to date you when you're in drag.
Right. I was
Or
just
like,
thinking.
Ooh,
I
I
only
actually
wanna
did that.
Date you when
I got asked out, and
Or I only I like you because you're so hot because I'm super attracted to Latinos.
yeah. I just think
Yeah.
Mexicans are so hot, and that's why you want to talk to me.
They do that to me sometimes too, and I'm like, girl, like I'm not actually like I don't feel like I'm a real Mexican. Like I'm American. I don't even speak Spanish. Like
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like a Mexican American, and so like my Spanish is not fluent, so that gets definitely judged. And then on top of that, they want the. I mean, like I'm not going to show up in a like poncho and a sombrero.
well, I mean, is it fall or is it
Right.
and what color is the poncho? Do I have boots
Sure.
that match?
Is it gold? But I remember in California, I got asked out on a date, and I showed up, and the guy was like, I was in drag when he asked me out, and so when I showed up, I was as a boy, and he was like, "What's this?" And I was like,
Oh, I thought you wanted a name.
because there's like, I was like, okay, I'd explain that. There's a difference between like transgender and drag queens and cross-dressing. I was at work that night.
We're both like, oh, because like to us, like it's
Yeah, it
just,
totally
like,
makes sense,
we-
yeah.
like what is he talking about?
He was just like, because I was as a boy, he's like, where are you? And I was like, okay, yeah. He was like,
and beans.
Did he think that you were trans? or identified as trans?
I was not looking trans. Like that's the thing. My drag was so different. I was like, I clearly wasn't trying to be passable. But like I think my makeup is like it's more like cold looking. So like he really liked that. And then so when I did go out, he was just like, you know, I do sort of like, you know, more trans women, which is totally okay. That if that's what you like, yeah, absolutely. I support all that. I'm not that. I'm not that.
Did you still buy your dinner? Did you go on the date? Or
No,
was
we
it,
didn't do it.
Oh,
I was like, okay, because it was just awkward.
I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna throw in a bottom lash and a wig real quick. You're still gonna buy me some.
Hold on. Yeah, run out and away real quick.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. How did that make you feel? Like, was it an opportunity where like, oh, I can educate, or oh, like I can meet someone different, or like this kind of hurts my feelings?
No, it
I'm
really
like,
didn't
this
hurt
is weird.
We did sit down like for a second, and I did kind of explain to him like the difference between it all, and then like he wasn't like an asshole about it. He was just really, like.
Did he understand, or did he have a concept before, or
He
like,
understood.
did you educate him? Like,
I had to separate because he kept referring to transgender women as cross-dressers, and I was like, that's not the same thing. There's complete difference in that. And also with drag queens, like they always expect, oh, so you're trans, like you want to be a woman. No, it's an art form, and right now it's an amazing art form. I feel that helps pays the bills. So when you see me in drag, I promise there's a check behind it because I consider it work. Yeah. This is work. Like I was like, oh, I'm at work, and then they're like, you're just dressing up fancy. Thank God that's my job for right now.
Like, but I'm also it's
it's a passion, it's an art, and it's a job.
It's so interesting. Do you think that there's a difference between like how you're perceived as Latino or a queen in the Midwest in Kansas City, as opposed to how you were perceived in LA as a queen or a Latino person?
I guess I'm more known here. In LA, it was a fresh new start. So I also wasn't really pursuing drag in LA. I was trying to be like the makeup artist. So I was painting all my friends and going to their shows and watching them, and that was just the ticket. I loved going out and just being able to relax and watch. But now, like Hollywood just has that like you have to be perfection. Like there was no ways I was not going out. So that helped me with my drag. I feel polish it so much. Waist cinch, tuck, nails, earrings, lashes. Like you're not gonna go out there not with, not unprepared fully.
So it's super unfortunate because you decided to actually make the leap from Kansas City and leave your family and your great job and the people that you've known your whole life and the situation, what's been really great for you. You decided to make that leap to LA, and then COVID happened and you had to come back. Like, how is that for you, like mentally? I mean, well, the way you just said that, like you obviously learned so much in that short amount of time, and like it really, really helped. But like, how is that transition, having to leave, being sad, and then getting to like a destination where you wanted to be for so long, and then having to be pulled back because of COVID?
I think once we got there, it was hard. I mean, everyone was like, LA is gonna chew you up and spit you out. And so we were like, okay, we were ready. And one of those things, it was like, just be yourself. And that was like the hardest things to do. And then when we started going to auditions, and like one of our biggest gigs we got out there, it was just because we were simply our stupid selves. So we were getting a taste of everything. Work was amazing. We figured out how to get all around California cheaply, and because it's so expensive out there. And now that Corona has happened, I thought at first I was struggling. I was like, oh my God, this is hard. And I would do anything to go back to how normal it was, because it was great. We were able to travel, work in film, television, music videos, photo shoots. We were doing everything. So if anything, I feel grateful because it was the best boot camp, sort of. Like I got to go and experience it. I know like the roughness of it, the bright side of it. I got to experience a lot, and I was really happy with it. So now being home, I think I just have, I want to get my cosmetology license. So then once that's done, I can just be more working here full time. Because thank God, I have more work here. Because in LA, everything's either on fire or shut down. So it's just, do we try our hardest to stay out there? But then I'm like, okay, no, let's just come back, let's work, let's save up, and maybe
build some more skills and take some more skills out there.
Yes, absolutely.
So now that you're back, what is different in KC for you? Since you've been out of the city, you experienced another part of the country, interacting with a whole range of different people, and you're back in Kansas City, you're back around people that you've grown up with, in places that you've lived the majority of your life. What is different for you now that you're back? Like, what looks different about the city?
I don't know.
What's different about you?
Yeah.
I feel like with this is probably more different with me. I feel like I just been taking like my craft way more seriously. I just turned 30, so it's just one of those like, okay, you got to find the right path and get on it. And I feel like I'm just more career driven now, especially when I love drag. It's really the best art form, but on top of that, there's hair, nails, makeup, all these different aesthetics that I would love to perfect and get to, and hopefully within my future be like a great hairstylist, a great makeup artist, and be able to perform. I feel like here, now that I'm back, I feel like I got my foot more in the door, and it's more a little like, okay, you can do this and you will do this. Yeah, at first I was just I was just doing stuff. I wasn't cinching. I wasn't wearing nails. I wasn't tucking. I was just like, I just wanted to be up there performing. I wanted to do it because I was selfish, because I love to perform. I wasn't putting in the work. Now it's the work is put in 10 times harder. I feel like I completely look different than from when I first went. Like my aesthetic has completely changed. And here I feel like it's gotten not worse, not bad, but like it's stayed great. Like I feel like Kansas City, it was one thing that there's always something that changes, but it gives, that's one comfort about it, is that it almost stays the same. That like when you come back, you kind of just jump right back into it. You see different things elevated and for the better. Like especially here, I love it. And unfortunately with Corona, but we're like Mary's kick ass right now and doing great, but we have to take all these precautions. So I guess other than Corona, that's the difference, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we do at Woody's too. We've been taking so many precautions, but people keep saying that. They're like, how's it changed? I'm like, actually, from the jump, like we've been doing the precautions, and we've been above and beyond doing the things. So like now to me, it feels very normal.
Yeah, you see them
come in
playing
and,
at
like,
Woody's,
make
you
sure-
see them all in masks.
So, like, it just seems very normal now. And like even people, like it just seems like normal, like just visiting friends going out, and it's like as soon as I jump out of my truck, like I automatically have an mask on. Which I mean, I had to borrow one from us today, but I literally have 4 in my car. I just was too lazy to go get one. But for you, as an artist, a makeup artist, a performer, like, are there any like Latino inspirations that you pull from, or like who are your other inspirations that you look at to like with makeup, with drag, with clothing, with hair, with music styles, with like genres? Like, who do you pull your inspirations from?
When it comes to makeup, aesthetically wise, I love the most beautiful Selena Quintanilla. Just like the softness, I obviously don't paint like her, or try to impersonate her, but just her as a person, the humbleness, the beauty that she walked with, the grace, like that's how I love to carry myself. And so, because I used to be always like, let's flip, let's dance, and now I just love the beauty in drag. Like I want to walk out and just be the most gorgeous woman in there, and just be glamorous as I can. And there's a makeup artist here in town, Riri. Riri is amazing, and
There's a couple of
there's 2. So there's Riri and then Riri XL. I'm talking about Riri.
Lil Riri.
Yeah. She has always been like a great, like her makeup skills is so beyond that, like it inspires you, like
Everything, even her fashion skills. Like she is such a beautiful woman.
and she knows who she is.
Yes.
And that was one thing that I was bouncing around because I didn't know what I was doing or where I wanted to go. And now I feel like I know who I am. And so that has helped inspire me to get pushed out. And it's tough to get a compliment from her too, because she is just like that girl.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, I'm not gonna lie, she said, your eye makeup's pretty. Let me tell you that.
Can you please say that into my phone, Riri?
Yeah, I sat there and I was like, oh,
Like what?
I tried to be cool about it. I was like, oh, thanks. But I was like, she complimented me. Monique Hart also, although she's not Hispanic, she is an amazing, she's a person of color. I love this because I would walk in a room and from other people you get, oh, you look great, you look gorgeous, oh my God, look good, you look good. And then Monique, why is your brow like that? You need to move your lip down. Your lips are too big. Soften your contour. But she's saying it because it's true, and it's like that brotherhood, sisterhood, and she's doing it because she wants me to look as best as I can.
Yeah.
So best believe the next day I'm like blending even more, I'll lower my brow, sharpen it, and it's just all from love. So I feel like, especially makeup-wise, my inspiration have all been from people of color.
Yeah, I've seen the drag community, especially over the last like maybe 5-6 years, like transform from cutthroat to more of that sisterhood, to be like, you know, I'm gonna offer some advice, because if you look better, I look better, our drag is better, you know, and I think that's.
I think a lot of that too has, like, in my experience being here, I think that a lot of that has to do with what I want to do. You know, producing Drag Survivor and giving a platform to a bunch of queens and little queens, and also like, you know, mirroring in like some like more like polished queens that have been here and trying to like, you know, capture them together and make something grow. And she's produced a couple of seasons of her show that like are incredible, which definitely like even her last season was like a cast of, you know, some new and you know some older. Older, but like people that I know, like that I've known for a while, and just to see where they've come in the past few years, and the cattiness, bitchiness, being sisters, but also now coming together and being a little bit more sisters, but like helping elevate each other, even on a platform where it's a competition and they're all trying to win, but they're still like helping each other and giving critiques, but like doing it in a constructive way.
Yeah, there's I competed on the second season of that Drag Survivor, and let me tell you, like that show completely, like I have to give full thanks to Widow because of that show. We got like each week, it is a competition, and you're signing up to be judged, but you're signing up to be judged to perfect your craft. And again, I entered as like a club kid. I was just doing all this stuff, but my drag completely changed throughout the whole thing, and I sort of started to find myself in that. And now that opportunity is here, I think so this Thursday, the season 5 starts here at 9 o'clock. And that's going to be insane because
it's a whole new cast, right?
It's a whole new cast, and that's what it is. If you want to do drag, this is the show to do, because if you can't do the show, then for me, drag's not for you, because it has you put in the work. It has you put in the skill, the makeup, the hair, the sewing, learn. And also on my season, although it was a competition, you need this makeup palette, you need some wig. Oh, I have a pants you can borrow for that outfit. We knew at the end of the day, we had a job as a cast to put on a show, because we are blessed to have it here at Hamburger Mary's. And so they're asking us to put on a production, and we want to do that. Like, I want people to come in and get seated and be like, damn, we saw a show, instead of just someone coming up here and maybe knowing the words or skipping or tripping around. And this one, like, it made us be like, oh, each number, there's no smoke breaks. You want to see each show, each girl, and that's what I'm super excited for tomorrow night, because it's a batch full of all new entertainers.
This is a live show too, right?
It's a
because
live
last show was like during COVID with the All Stars, and like this was like an unprecedented thing where they did like all virtual, where they all made music videos. It was incredible. Really, it was like one of the coolest things. I know you've been talking a little bit too about, you know, sisterhood and brotherhood and like all that you have. Like, can I talk a little bit about like, you know, your actual brother who is also queer? And to me, like, both of you are like two of the most like talented people that I know in the city. I think that you're both amazing. I think that your brother's incredible. He's done incredible things. How is that? Because you guys have grown up together. You're like best friends, and like you have each other's back, and you've worked in the same venues together. How does that, seeing your brother succeed and him seeing you succeed, like how does that feed off each other, and how does that help each other? Like how does that work as Latinos?
I feel like it's an awesome, like, I mean,
I'm a little jealous. I wish I had a brother like that.
You put us two together. You have someone who loves being on front of the camera and likes to be out dramatic and theatric, and then you have someone who has not only enjoys being behind the camera, but is knowledgeable. I mean, he is educated. He has a full degree. Like, he knows what he's talking about. So when he gives me advice, I'm like, because then when it's shown, you're like, oh shit, that does look great. So I think it's an amazing like partnership, almost like when we get to travel together. We got to do a lot together, and especially as brothers, gay Mexican brothers, like I really hope it shows a lot, because I love that boy to death. So it's great.
That's awesome. Where is he currently?
He just got back from California right now.
Yeah, he was he on vacation with?
Yeah, he went on vacation. The little boy needed it, because my brother, swear, like he with the past season of Drag Survivor, it was virtual, so he, like, I tell you, he was online fucking editing and filming and then coming in. So it was cool to see him do all this work and then take his time off. Yeah. He was like, I'm going to the beach, and I said, lay the hell out. Yeah. Go.
That's awesome.
So I'm gonna change the topic a little bit. to last night's debate, if you guys are comfortable. Or I should say, did anybody watch the debate last night? Other than me?
I did not, because every Tuesday night, I work at Woody's because we have game night, and it's hosted by Felicia B. Queen and Larry Sharp. It's super fun. We do bear trivia from 7 till about 8. Then we take a little break, Felicia performs, and then we do a feud style game, which is super, super fun. So you get a chance to come on Tuesdays. But we actually surprisingly had more people out last night than I thought because of the debate. And when I was like had little breaks, I was just sifting through my phone, and it was all
chaos,
awful. And like even this morning, like I'm not looking at social media for the rest of the day because it's just people complaining about this debate, which like,
what did you expect?
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Like, what did you expect? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just a lot.
Train wreck's a train wreck.
Like, yeah. Were you able to watch the debate? Or was that something that you?
I had to work last night, but when I got home, it was like around 11, and I love the shade room, so I was looking through, and I do want to watch it because it's recorded. So I'm just like, okay, because I watched all the debates up to now, so it's like, okay, this is. The first time I watched the debate was a few years ago, and one of the bar managers here, Randy, he had a watch party for it, and I was like, a watch party? So we got to it. Oh my God, it was the most entertaining thing because you're just like,
how was that watching it here? Was it like, because I know like at Woody's we try to steer away from political stuff. Because
it wasn't here. This was at a time.
Oh, it was like in the past we have, and like people with alcohol involved, like people get very passionate, and that's it's very scary.
I was happy to do it like at a small home because it wasn't like
with
a bunch of random people that
all like-minded people.
Yeah, so we knew exactly. We were all on the same page. We knew who we liked, and that's how it was going to be. So last night's debate, I'm pretty sure everyone. I want to know the drinking games that were made up for last night.
You died
because I'm pretty sure everyone was just toasted.
Well, I mean, if you drank every time Trump interrupted.
I saw somebody this morning. They were just like, girl, it's only been 22 minutes and I'm like 6 White Claws in already.
It was 10 minutes and I was outside by myself, my little pizza and incense, all this stuff going. Like, I need some sage. And it's like 10 minutes in and I just go,
Trump is like called out Biden's son.
It was for an addiction and overcoming it. Like, that's a great thing. Not something to hold against.
Something that just makes me so angry, and I'm trying not to live in like that anger. And I know that like the anger is valid, and I know that I probably should, but it's just like, what is that anger really going to change for me? And I want to share what my takeaway is, and once you are able to watch the debate, if you do choose to do that, I'd love for you to like share on the video, like what your comment is, comment what your thoughts were. But my takeaway from that is Trump affirmed his leadership of white supremacists, of the KKK, of Proud Boys, all of the individuals that fall in line under that hate-filled group of subjecting individuals based on the color of their skin. And I think his inability to, since 2016, or actually throughout his whole life, to say white supremacy is wrong, that racism is wrong, that America is better than those two things, and those should not be elevated to the highest office in our land. But all he did was say, stand back and stand by.
Stand by, that was the thing.
To me, I mean, if I could have paused it, because there wasn't an option to pause, I would have paused that video and just said, because I was like, you just claim that you're the leadership for those individuals and not America. Like you just said, I want you guys to stand back and stand by. Like, be ready, be in the wings, for when I call for you. And so I was like, that is not at all.
I just don't want to go over. I just don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to go over. I don't want to give any more airplay to some bullshit that he said that everybody fucking knows. And like, it just upsets me. And like, not even like a week ago, this past week, we had a huge fucking Trump rally at Liberal Memorial, which was crazy. But like, let's talk about something more proactive and productive. Let's talk about, what does your family think? How does that make you feel? I mean, I actually have people that in my Mexican family that have voted for Trump, which is incredibly crazy to me. I know that Facebook every single day when I log on every morning is like constantly reminding me to get out and vote and vote and vote and vote. And I know that next week we're doing a segment on voting and how to do things like that. I think that it's very important that everybody gets registered. I think it's very important that everybody actively uses, their voter rights to do that. And I think that it's a conversation more that we need to open up and talk about with our peers, especially our demographic and our
And
age
it's
group,
hard.
to do this. You know, we could sit here all day and talk about that debate that happened last night. We could talk about what an awful creature that Trump is and what his supporters are. I'm so tired of giving voice and power to that when we all know that. I think what we need to do is like be more proactive. I drove by that protest. I didn't have time to stop, but like I didn't really see anybody out there anti-protesting. You know, and I think that like we need to use our voices more productively, more proactively. And I think that it's time maybe to start letting people know like this is not okay. And I'm not going to condone this. And I'm not just going to unfriend you on Facebook because you're a Trump supporter. I'm going to actively tell you like you're garbage and this is why.
Yeah. Racism's wrong.
I accidentally I went on my run and I ran because I live in Memorial. I love to do all the stairs. And as soon as I was running,
As soon as you feel bad.
no, I got there and sure enough, I saw, well, I didn't see the Trump pins flags at first. I just saw someone hanging out their truck with something long. And I was like, what? But it was a rifle. I was like, yeah, as soon as I got close, I was like, oh my God, I saw the blue signs and like, I was like, okay, so I cut the other way so I could miss it.
Yeah.
I ran straight towards where they were going up and around. So I was like, gosh, damn it. And sure enough, they had their flags, they had their rifles. Like, of course, no one's going to counter protest. They're going to get shot.
They got guns, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be like,
I mean, for Black Lives Matter, we went down there and we protested and lots of people got shot by the police.
I was there. Yeah. Repeatedly.
the rubber bullet's a good friend of mine had to go in because of his eye.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
I'm like, that's a rubber bullet? That shit took out. Like,
one of the employees at Hamburger Mary's was shot in the chest.
yeah.
At a protest. Couple months ago.
Very good.
Here in Kansas City.
And mace. And on top of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just encourage voting, encourage conversation, encourage. I feel like this is a conversation too that like America's having right now about standing up to these bullies and standing up. But I feel like as queer people, we've always had to do that. We've always had to stand by each other. And when somebody's making fun of our chubby friend in a pink Power Ranger outfit, be like, you know what, that's not okay. Don't talk to my friend like that. Don't treat him like that. I think that that's more so that we need to do right now too, is with people that are supporting Trump and being that active. Be like, you know what, I think that you're wrong and this is why you're wrong. And I'm going to tell you why you're garbage. Instead of being like, you know what, unfriend, we're good.
Yeah, unfriend.
No.
Yeah. It just pushes them back into the closet, back into the shadows.
And they're still going to exist. I mean,
Yes.
you're not going to combat something by ignoring it.
Yeah.
Like you have to confront.
That's why we are where we are right now.
Because we've been ignoring it and
it.
pushing it to the side.
Yeah.
Because, you know, for generations, people have ignored their grandfather when you're at Thanksgiving, he makes a racist remark. Instead of ignoring things, we need to start calling them out. We need to start addressing them when it happens. It's not okay for you to touch that woman's ass like that. It's not okay for you to call that Black person that name. It's not okay for you to say the F word to this queer boy.
And we have those conversations at home when you're talking about like, you know, and how you dress and how you present yourself. You know, our daughter, you know, is a young woman and she's physically fit. She likes how she looks and she's proud of her body and she owns that. And she wears, you know, she may wear tight clothing or what would be considered revealing clothing, and she feels confident and comfortable in that. And, you know, my husband will be like, you should not be wearing that. And I'm like, you can't tell her what she can and can't wear. Like, she can wear whatever
It's not
she
her
wants.
job to make men not try to rape her.
Exactly.
Those guys got to fucking be rapists.
Exactly. She should be proud and comfortable wearing whatever she is. She should be able to walk down the street and not worry that
And she
somebody's
does it
gonna-
with class and dignity. too. It's not
Exactly.
like she's just wearing it.
You should be able to walk down the street dressed as beans and whatever
Yeah.
you
Yes.
want, and not have some guy pull over and try to like lure you into an Uber and like
Yes.
sexually assault you.
Literally, we're
Yeah.
like, what are our names? He goes, yours. And then, so this is happening to a man in a dress. So a young, beautiful, cisgendered woman, like that would, like,
Yeah.
no.
How terrifying. Some random dude just doing that.
And if America, we can normalize that, like, you know, the good old boys club and boys will be boys, like we
Locker room talk.
definitely can normalize that that's not okay.
Yeah.
We can definitely normalize that language, that verbiage, that physical action is not okay. It's time to flip the script. We need to
Yeah.
do that.
Stop unfriending. Start saying it's not okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And start saying it in person. You know, I know that like
Yes.
there was a debate that we were going through a few months ago and stuff, and when I was working, some people would jump in and say some stuff about, you know, what we were going through or whatever, and like totally be rude and totally be disrespectful, and then like walk into like my space and pretend that we're friends, and I'd be like, and everyone would just stare at me, and I'm like, no, we're not friends, and this is why, and I would pull up like, this is what you said, like this is bullshit. It's like, well, you know, that's just internet. I'm like, no, well, that's what you said.
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna pretend that we're cool. I'm not gonna pretend that we're like we can have a conversation and you can maybe come to an agreement, but from right now, like we're not friends. And I think that you're disrespectful. I think that you're wrong. And I'm going to call you out and I'm going to let everybody in here know that we're not friends. And this is why.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's that, like what I've been saying, that accountability that has been lacking, that you've seen with people hiding behind the keyboard and having those conversations and being visceral and cancel culture. And it really needs to be accountability.
Yeah.
You need to be focusing on how can you hold someone accountable? How are you making the world a better place? How are you making the person sitting next to you comfortable? You know, it's not just about you, it's about the other person and the impact you're having. And I think that's the conversation that needs to be having. Instead of tearing somebody down, how are you building yourself up and making a space for them to thrive?
All those words. Education is the key. Speaking up, speaking out. And I think also making sure that you have like your family members back, whether it's your blood relatives or chosen family or queer family or POC family, like making sure that see something, say something, stand up.
Yeah, this was like the 9/11 terrorist thing. See something, say something. Yeah. I just started watching Broad City. I don't know if you guys.
Oh my God, I love Broad City. So good.
Off topic.
Yes, queen.
Yes, queen. Well, we're coming up on the end of our hour, and I want to thank Peter, aka Beans, for being here, sharing your story, your experiences, and this dynamic conversation that we've had.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
Yeah. So if you want to like do a plug on where people can find you, your Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff.
Instagram is Peter Poquito. That's my boy page, but you can just go to Beans MUA. That's my drag page. I'll be here. I'm booked throughout the month of October, so you can come see me any night. I have a show this Saturday at 7 and 9. Call for reservations. I also post on Instagram all the shows I'm in. So.
And he'll be at Hamburger Mary's, Kansas City.
Yes. And then, if we have any plans for Halloween, we have something big at Woody's. So.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we're just like in the mix of making that.
That's exciting.
I think we have a big photo shoot.
Something's in the works. Yes, I'm excited.
I think we're doing like a whole week-long like Halloween like escapade leading up to the Saturday night.
Yeah.
So it should be really fun. Hopefully it's always takes a team of people to like make this production, but usually it's good.
It's a Halloween trifecta. You have a blue moon, a full moon, and a Saturday.
And get creative. Find a mask and build your costume around that. So you don't have no excuse to be like, well, my makeup. No, bitch, you were something from Mortal Kombat. Get over here.
Oh,
Get over here. Finish it.
Or a chubby Pink Power Ranger.
Yay.
Whichever one.
I love that.
Do you have a costume picked out?
No, I don't. I usually like that. I mean, I have.
Are you like a one costume person for a night? Or are you like, I'm gonna do a couple costumes like a couple nights of the week?
A couple costumes. I have a whole costume bag.
So you recycle costumes?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Especially they're my favorite ones. Yeah.
I just ran into the Reno 911 cop costume I have with the short shorts. I was like, I might rhinestone that one.
Ooh,
Cute.
Bling bling. Well, don't forget this weekend is what is his?
Oh my gosh! This weekend, if you know Tom and Daniel from Woody's KC, him and his partner, they just got their 501c3 nonprofit status. They do a horse rescue. This weekend, they're having their first fall festival fundraiser at their home from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's in Holden. It's about 35 minutes away from Kansas City. At the rescue, which is also their farm and their home. It's all ages. They will have food trucks, lots of games. There will be booths provided by Woody's. There will be, I think, 10 vendors set up where you can buy multiple things and have some fun. There's going to be a pumpkin patch for the kids. There's going to be pony rides. There's going to be all kinds of things. It's a day event. I believe DJ Slater, Chad Slater, is going to be DJing. It's this Saturday. This Saturday from 11 a.m. It starts at 11 a.m. and it ends at 6 p.m. It's going to be super fun. Grab some friends, carpool. It's like $5 donation at the door. It's super fun.
Or if you want, or you can bring horse feed.
Yeah, you can bring
stuff
anything.
like to help the farm.
If you look for Fall Festival on Facebook, the event's there, or you can message below, or you can message me, or anything. I know that I'm going to be there. It's going to be super fun. Yeah, I'm excited.
So I just have a thing. So I do safer sex kits, like condom kits, out in the community, and I have a trial that I'm running to see if people are actually like reading our labels, learning information about services that we offer, and actually utilizing the kits. So there are 500 kits that have been dropped in the community, and 2 of those have a golden ticket. That golden ticket is a red AIDS ribbon.
You gonna go to a Wonka factory?
No, but you do get a Ruby Jeans $10 gift certificate.
A what?
A Ruby Jeans $10 gift certificate.
Oh my god, I love that place.
I do too. It's a local Black-owned
It's like right off Truist.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Truist area. They're also at Whole Foods. It's a great place.
They have lunch, they have fresh fruit. Oh my god, they're so
Oh,
good.
so good. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, same. Every time I go there, there's always a line. And they're like, I was going there a lot, like about a month and a half ago, and every time I would go, like you have to get there before, like I think they close at like 3 or something, 2 or 3. But if you were leaving there by 2, they like would run out of food because like there were so many people that were going.
Yeah,
It's
it's so good. So definitely check out those cotton kits. You can look on Unboxed's page for a post. A couple, I think you scroll down maybe 2 or 3 posts. You'll see a picture of the kits that have the AIDS ribbon stickered on the back of them. Look for it. See if you pick your kit. See if you're the one who got the lucky $10 gift card. And I want to thank everybody for sticking with us, watching, enjoying the show. Please share, like Unboxed, like Woody's. Check out Peter's, aka Bean's page.
Check out Wishing Well Equine Rescue and Rehabilitation on Facebook, and make sure that you donate. It's incredible.
It is. It's not just about people. You gotta help the animals too, especially the ones that humans leave behind. Yeah. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Have a good
Bye.
weekend.